What is going on, guys? Welcome on into Second and Short, and we are doing something very new here.
We have to do the.
We don't have a special noisemaker, but no, we are going to be covering a video reporting news that just broke. If you're watching this the day it comes out, about 24 hours ago, this news broke. Not even, and it's about Cam Newton signing to the New England Patriots.
Yeah, I mean this fits perfectly with like a series that we're doing. I'm pretty pumped about this.
And this is great because New England Patriots fans, we're not saying you guys had a bad offseason, but we just thought you guys lost more key pieces than you gained key pieces. You kind of got a lot of role players, but I mean, that's the Patriot way, right? They kind of always have the next man up mentality anyways.
Yeah, they're like they just like euthanize the old players and move on. Like they don't.
But that's what's exciting about this is that Bill Belichick is going to have the opportunity here to take a former MVP, a Super Bowl caliber quarterback, a multi-divisional champion quarterback, a national champion quarterback. Oh, sorry, did I steal everything we're going to talk about in the background?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, let's jump on into it. Let's jump on into the background here. Go ahead and lead us off, Aaron, with where Cam Newton started off.
All right. Well, I'm going to give some background, and then I was actually afterwards wanted to hear from you, like your experiences, because you're a Panthers fan. So I wanted to hear like what it was like being a Panthers fan while he was there. But first of all, some background. He was drafted number 1 overall by the Panthers in 2011. He got off to an explosive start. He broke the record for passing yards by a rookie in a single game in week 1, and then he did it again in week 2, and he just became known as this like electric playmaker. He could make plays, throwing the ball, running the ball. He ran for so many touchdowns throughout his career. He was the only rookie to ever throw for over 4,000 passing yards in his rookie season. He also racked up 700 rushing yards, which is nothing to sneeze at, Tyler. And then he was named Rookie of the Year and named to the Pro Bowl as well. And then 2013, a couple of years later, 2013, 2014, he led the Panthers for back-to-back NFC South titles, which, if I'm not mistaken, that was the first time that had been done in that division's history, right?
Yeah, since 2002, the NFC South has been really unique, where essentially it's almost like the bottom dweller has went from 4th to 1st multiple years in a row.
Yeah.
And they never had a repeat champion until Carolina came in and three-peated a couple years ago.
That's great. And that was the year they went 7-8-1, I think, too. That was pretty crazy.
7-8-1, and they won a playoff game.
Yeah. So yeah, that was a lot of fun to watch. And then in 2015, it really hit the fan because the Panthers had that explosive offense, best record in the league. They went 15-1. He was named NFL MVP for that year. Panthers went to the Super Bowl. We all know how that ended. Tragically for some, hilariously for others. But regardless, they never reached quite that same. He never reached quite that same level of play over the next few years. And then kind of last year and the year before that, he was hurt. Like in 2018, he played hurt a lot, which affected his play. And then last year, he hardly played because he got hurt. And then he was released this offseason by the Panthers after they couldn't find anyone willing to trade for him. So Tyler, what was it like you? I know you're a huge Cam fan. What was it like watching him play for your favorite team and like just being there to experience what kind of player he was?
Well, I'm going to go back a little bit before I dive into that, and I'm just going to touch on some extra things you put in there. So like you talked about him breaking all these records, and if you guys want a fun little read, literally go Google Cam Newton NFL records, and there is about like 50 of them that he has broken because he's such a unique player the NFL has never seen. Yeah, we've had guys that can rush, we've had guys that are big and take hits, but we haven't had that combination of guys that can do both. I mean, in his rookie year, he ran for 14 touchdowns. That's an NFL record for quarterbacks that will never be broken in my eyes.
Yeah, I mean, if Michael Vick was kind of like an elusive type of running quarterback, you know, like Barry Sanders and like juking people and stuff like that, then Cam Newton's kind of more the Earl Campbell of running quarterbacks. You just take hit after hit after hit.
Yeah, and yeah, 100%. And what's also crazy is that Cam Newton, in his career, has 58 rushing touchdowns. So just bear with me. That ties him for 53rd all time in the NFL since forever. He has more rushing touchdowns than Chris Johnson, Matt Forte, Larry Johnson, Tiki Barber, like Arian Foster. It's insane. And that's with injury years. Like if Cam played healthy every year, he's averaging about 5 to 8 touchdowns a year rushing. He would be higher up on this list. And really, he only needs about 7 touchdowns to crack the top 40, which is just stupid insane. But let's move on to what you asked me here. You know, being one of the Panthers fans that actually likes Cam Newton. And you're going to learn this. I don't know about a lot of other franchises. The Carolina Panthers franchise inside the organization is insane on how they treat people. We've already kind of talked about it on how they don't really treat players the proper way when they let them go. If you guys want to check out what we said about Greg Olsen, click this top right icon right here. We talk about his departure from Carolina and how it just wasn't handled the best way. And Cam's was the same. Now, Cam Newton he splits the franchise. Fan base, half the fan base loves him, half the fan base kind of like tolerates him but doesn't like him. And I figure you can picture what most of those guys actually look like that don't like him. Not to be saying anything, whatever, but and for Cam Newton, it's just a guy that is always out there to put on a smile. He's there to entertain. He is constantly out there for the fans. Like he's laying his body on the line at all times for the fans. And just, I mean, I came from having Jake Delhomme was my longest tenured quarterback, an undrafted free agent, you know, a journeyman. We had guys like Rodney Peete and Chris Winkie, and when Cam Newton came over to replace Jimmy Clausen, it was gold. It was great. Carolina wasn't supposed to get that pick, and they just kind of, you know, let Jimmy Clausen take them to 2-14, and they lucked out because as a fan of this franchise, I've never been able to sit and say we have a chance to win the Super Bowl every year, but with Cam Newton, you do. It's as simple as that. He's that dynamic. If he's healthy, he makes it so hard for defensive coordinators to game script.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he really is one of those players that even when the stats aren't the great, when he doesn't have a great game, he still will put them in a position to win. A lot of times, it seems like he's got a winning record as a quarterback. He did nothing but win in college, so.
I mean, if we take away like 2015 is like his outlier, that 15-1 season. If you take that away, 2018, while he was playing hurt, he had multiple injuries. He had his best quarterback rating of his professional career, and that was while playing hurt on a team that has been depleted. I mean, this guy took the Carolina Panthers to the Super Bowl. Kelvin Benjamin was hurt that entire year, so his number one receiver was Ted Ginn Jr. He had Jericho Cotchery.
Philly Brown.
Yeah. Philly Brown. I mean, just there's the options there outside of Ted Ginn. They don't play in the NFL right now. They don't, either because they're too old or they just can't make a team. But even Ted Ginn's going to be being like the 4th or 5th guy in Chicago right now. He took a team that had a bunch of undrafted free agents on the offensive line. He had old players all surrounding him, and he literally brought them to relevance. My whole point, though, is in 2018, while hurt with this depleted team, and he still had some decent pieces there, he had his best quarterback rating. So he's not done by any means. And now he's had over a full year to heal. That's what's key to me. He played like 2 games and then came out because, you know what? You're not 100%. Let's just take some more time to rest.
Yeah, and I mean, I think if we're like segueing our way into the next section, I think that's kind of what the Patriots are building on with this contract that they gave him.
Yeah, let's talk about that contract. Go into little details on as good a details as we can this early. What do you got for us?
So basically, we don't really know any like solid numbers. He signed just today. He signed a 1-year contract with the Patriots. It's worth a maximum of $7.5 million, but that's if he hits like all of his incentives. We don't know like what his base salary is or what his guaranteed money is. we know that the deal is worth a maximum of $7.5 million. So, I mean, some people have described this contract as being Jamaican limbo champion low, which, I mean, that's pretty low, especially considering this is a former MVP who could probably still play at a high level. But if you look at it, if you think about it, the contract kind of makes sense for both sides. The Patriots get a former MVP to take over for Brady. I mean, I don't think anyone was trying to convince themselves that Jarrett Stidham was just going to continue running this offense like Brady was. And they can see if Cam has anything left in the tank, if he's fully recovered from his injuries, and he can play. He gets to play for a contender. He gets they were already a strong team without him. He gets to go there. He immediately makes them better, and he gets to prove himself and get the opportunity to kind of earn a bigger contract next year, whether that's with the Patriots or anyone who wants to pay him more.
So a couple things here is that this contract puts him. I don't have the exact number here because I it all depends on the incentives. But let's say he hits his like full 7.5. He's going to be getting paid as like the 28th or 29th highest paid quarterback. Yeah. That's it. Jarrett Stidham's making much less than that. I've been dealing with people in a bunch of my dynasty leagues right now, and some guy is actually willing to wager that Stidham is going to be playing and starting more games than Cam Newton this year. So much so that he's going to pay the next person's league fees if he's wrong. And I think he's already starting to write that check, in my eyes. You're not going to pay a guy this much money. I know it's incentive based, but you're not going to bring a guy in that has all this, like everything. His resume speaks for itself. Stidham's thrown like 2 passes in the NFL. He's a 4th round pick. I don't see a reason to throw Stidham to the wolves. We know Belichick isn't going to just like, let's just tank and hopefully we get a good quarterback. No, he's not going to do that. He's too good of a coach, and his legacy is going to prevent him from wanting to do that. I mean, if Tom Brady makes the Super Bowl or just the playoffs, and Belichick and the Patriots don't, that hurts Belichick more than Brady. Like, it's a lose-lose for Belichick. He has to stay relevant. So I think Patriots fans kind of have lulled themselves into this false sense of acceptance, saying Stidham's our quarterback because obviously we didn't make another move. But now you did. We've been calling this move for a long time over here. Our Fat Chat has been saying that Cam Newton will be a Patriot one day.
Yeah, I mean, go back and do a search in the history of like our group chat, and it's way back up when he got released. We were calling it. Same with like the chat that I have with my siblings. We were saying the same thing. So
yeah, it just makes sense. It just makes sense. He needs to play for a contender, and now what we're gonna do here is we're gonna talk about how he fits in with this offense. I know a lot of people are saying like he's gonna have a short off season, and like, is Belichick really gonna bring in somebody to take a? You know, it's Belichick and Josh McDaniels. These guys can do anything. They made Matt Castle look like a Pro Bowl quarterback.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the offensive fit.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like I don't think he's had that short of an off season because I think his off season started once he stopped playing last year. So he's had a long time to recover from all of his injuries. And I think he'll be in better shape than he's been in probably in his entire NFL career. He said he's going to come in. He's immediately going to be the starter. No question about that. Yeah, I mean, we all know that. His people pointed to his play declining since the Super Bowl. But to be honest, the talent has declined as well. But I mean, like you said, like there was one year where Kelvin Benjamin was his number 1 receiver. I think it was the year after the Super Bowl, and then he had no one else. So then in 2018, the Panthers started kind of this offensive rebuild. They drafted DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel in the same draft, 2 kind of speedy wide receivers. And then they got Christian McCaffrey the year before, so they kind of had this new look offense coming together. They changed offensive coordinators. They brought in Norv Turner. And then that year, like you said, that was his best passer rating year besides his MVP year, right? So if you go back and you look at the stats from the first 8 games, the first half of the season, they started 6-2. He was at over 100 in passer rating. He was rated 10th in the league. He had 67 completion percentage, which is crazy high compared to the rest of his career. And then his shoulder went to crap and he kind of struggled for the rest of the season. But when he was healthy, with that new offense, with some good players around him, he was on fire that year.
Yeah, and now with the Patriots, I mean, Tom Brady's gone. And I'm sorry, Patriots fans. I shouldn't say this. I know I understand. I said this to like the Texans fans with Hopkins, but I feel like Brady cuts deeper. He's gone. And the offense has, already started to adapt in the offseason moves. I mean, obviously becoming more run-oriented. I mean, franchising Thuney while having Shaq Mason signed to a big deal. This just shows the emphasis that you want to have on the run game and protecting these assets that you have, such as, Sony Michel and James White to be the pass-catching guy. And, I mean, they even have that thumper, Damian Harris, who is coming in to his own slowly. And really, the Patriots have a lot of options here to run the ball. On top of that, they have a guy, Cam Newton, if he's healthy, who could run the ball. And on top of that, Cam Newton has a really good arm when healthy. He's going to be able to hit these guys, that can burn down deep if they need to. He's got reliable options like possession receivers like Julian Edelman and N'Keal Harry, who started to show some character late in the year. This offense is it's not tailored to him, but it will be. Josh McDaniels is a mad scientist when it comes to creating offenses around quarterbacks. I mean, back when he was with the Broncos, he helped Tim Tebow go to the playoffs. That doesn't make, in my head, that doesn't make sense. That guy's playing baseball now. And Josh McDaniels got that quarterback to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we've always known that these guys are both Belichick, even though he's more of a defensive background. He's an offensive genius as well as Josh McDaniels. I mean, they love to build their offense around the type of players that they have, and I think they may even take some takeaways from like what they're saying happened today. Like today we've got more mobile quarterbacks. We've gotten more of like some read options, plays that kind of give the quarterback room to run in the open field like the Ravens have done. Like they're not going to look at what the Ravens did last year and be like, nah, that's too much for me. They're going to take some of what they did. They're going to implement that into their offenses. And Cam is a great quarterback to do that with because he's so good with his feet.
Yeah, Belichick is always willing to evolve. He normally like zigs when everybody else zags. Like he is always kind of ahead of the curve. And I think if we look at reports, like let's just go back to like rumors and speculation. Like 2-3 years ago, there was talk that they wanted to potentially sever ties from Brady. And I think it's because Belichick saw the direction the league was going and he wanted to be ahead of the curve. However, he couldn't take that away because the owner there loves him so much. And it makes sense that he loves him so much because Brady's still playing at a high level, even last year playing down, quote unquote. But I see this a lot. Belichick will bring in people like crazy. Like most guys are sitting here wanting, edge rushing linebackers and everything, and he'll come and bring in a hybrid guy that can kind of blitz up the middle, but also drop into coverage. And he doesn't excel at either, but he's pretty good at both. And he'll make that guy look like a star. He constantly is adapting. Now, let's talk about impact as best we can. I want you to give me short term, and I'm probably going to agree with it because there's really only one short term impact. And then we'll see if there's a long term thing. But what do you think impact Cam Newton can have on the 2020 season for the New England Patriots?
Well, to be honest, I thought that the Patriots, as opposed to a lot of other people, I thought the Patriots were still the favorites to win the AFC East. I felt like just the coaching is stronger, and you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. So I don't think I thought it was going to be close between them and the Bills, but I think Cam Newton just ensures that they stay on top of the AFC East. That's provided that he's healthy and that he's returned to how he was playing in early 2018. If both of those are true, then I don't think there's anyone still that can stop them from winning the AFC East.
Yeah, I mean, the Buffalo Bills last year couldn't even win the division with Brady playing his potentially worst year, quote unquote, from big name markets and everything. But that's it right there. If Cam's healthy, there's no reason this Patriots team shouldn't continue to be favorites. And then, you know what? I'm happy for it. I know a lot of people don't like the Patriots because they're a dynasty and they're consistent, and people hate consistency when it's not their team.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, 100%. But I mean, it's like they're immortal. Like, they can lose games, but having Cam Newton at 100% health is going to make this Patriots team return to the favorites. Just wait for it. I feel like within the week or two from this signing, the Vegas odds will have them top 10 Super Bowl odds.
Oh, yeah. So if you want to place a bet on the Pats winning the Super Bowl, I'd do that now.
Yeah, do it right away, because if they do, you're going to make bank. But we don't encourage losing money or gambling money. But if you are somebody that does that yourself, that's the route to go. Now, let's talk long term. So based on what we said, if he's healthy, they are the divisional favorites. They are Super Bowl contenders. Well, now he's healthy. Why wouldn't he come back for multiple years? Like, if he's healthy and they win the division, they're going to win 10, 11 games. They're not going to be in contention to draft a quarterback next year. Belichick's not going to shell all of his draft picks up to go get somebody. And I truly think next year's draft will have the same effect this draft did. We're going to see like 3 quarterbacks in the top 10. What happens long term?
He has a potential to kind of have a Ryan Tannehill-esque season. In that Tannehill, you remember he tore his ACL like 12 times. Actually, it was just twice, but it feels like it was a lot of times. He was injured. He was kind of having a mediocre career. And then came to the Titans, got his chance to start, and just lit up the league. And he played so well and didn't give up that starting spot. So Cam, I think he has the potential to do the same thing. I'm not going to say he's had a mediocre career, because I think he's been above average most of his career. But lately he's been hurt. He hasn't been playing as well as he could. And then if he comes in and he's injured, or if he's healthy, like I said, he can light it up and have the kind of be that same guy that Ryan Tannehill was last year.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think it's literally going to be, if he's healthy and they play well, he's going to get a Tannehill type deal. It'll kind of be more like an Andy Dalton type deal, but the Ryan Tannehill effect. Essentially what I mean by that is, like, Andy Dalton really got some upfront money, and then it was like, any year we can cut you and it doesn't hurt us.
Yeah.
And that's what I think will happen, because the Patriots are smart about how they do these things. But I mean, there's no reason, if Cam Newton's willing to take 7.5 this year and he does well, you could still pay him like $18 million the next year, and he's still going to be ranked at like 20th in the league among quarterbacks. I mean, that's still going to be half. If he makes you a Super Bowl contender and you can pay him half of what the Chiefs are paying Patrick Mahomes, that's a steal in my eyes. If he's injured again, or he comes back and it doesn't work out for whatever reason, I just don't see this not working out for the Patriots. But if it doesn't work out, he's obviously going to he'll move around the league, and we're going to see that this is the cliff of Cam Newton, and he'll just be a journeyman backup until he doesn't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, I agree.
But let's move on to predictions, because we think this is going to be a successful move. We think he's going to have a high impact with this Patriots team. So let's kind of talk about that. Give me some predictions, and we're going to do over-under because offensive player, and I think that's the easiest way than just us randomly throwing numbers out. So let me randomly throw out an over-under.
Just get it out there.
3,500 yards. Do you think he'll be over or under? Let's say he starts week 1, he's healthy, 3,500 yards passing.
Oh, that's tough. I'm going to say under, but not by much. Maybe like 3,300 or 3,500, because, again, he's not just a pure passer. And, I mean, he's only had over 3,500 yards in like 1, 2, 3, 4 seasons. So I mean, that's not what his game is. He's not coming in to throw for over 3,500 passing yards. He's going to add yards on the ground, like we said before. So I'm going to say just a tad under.
Okay, but would you say that he'll kind of get around like 400 rushing yards?
Yeah, I'm going to take the over on that. Easy.
And total touchdowns at 25.
Total, like passing and running?
Total, yes.
Oh,
yes.
yeah, that's an over easy for me.
And there you go. And I agree with a lot of these things. I think that he can get close to that 3,500. It also is, he's going to have a check down option in a reliable option in James White, which is kind of similar to what he had in Carolina. I mean, James White is not Christian McCaffrey, but I'm saying he has a reliable pass catching back.
I mean, they're both white.
Yeah. And he's also got Julian Edelman there, who is a quarterback's best friend. And I think Julian Edelman can help make any quarterback relevant in the NFL and make them look great. Just feed him the ball, give him 100 targets, and you're gonna love his ability to create yards for you. Touchdown to interception ratio, I think, is gonna be better than he's had in the past couple of years. I think that I really could see this being like almost a 2-to-1 situation where he throws about 22 touchdowns to about 9-10 interceptions, just because I think the play calling is going to be conservative.
Yeah, and I mean, Bill Belichick also really values hanging on the ball, not turning the ball over, because Brady did that so well for so long. So I think that he's going to really put an emphasis on that.
Alrighty, and that's going to do it for us here on Second and Short. This is our first breaking news podcast episode, and it feels awesome to get this going. Breaking the fourth wall, we literally are recording this 2 minutes before we post it on YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, it's spontaneous, it was fun, and I'm waiting for part 2 and Jadeveon Clowney signs. Yeah,
well, as soon as that happens, we'll break that as well. But make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. We just hit 50 subscribers. And that doesn't seem like a lot to some people, but that's big to us because we're not out there, asking for people to follow us, and we'll follow them back. We're not doing subscribe for subscribes. So thank you guys that are subscribing. Please hit that like button down below. It lets us know that you're liking this content, liking this direction. And if you don't like what we're doing here, you can leave a thumbs down, but I prefer you guys to comment and literally let us know what you didn't like so we can fix it and change it. Maybe, who knows? And on top of that, make sure at the very end of this video to click these icons here. You can see the full playlist of the new additions, as well as our recent video that we just had go up on Thursday.
And check us out on social media as well. We're on Facebook, Twitter. We've got Instagram going. We got posts, not just for every episode, but we have news updates, discussion points, hilarious jokes that I like to tell myself. And check us out.
Yeah, all those links will be in the description down below for you guys. Thank you guys for listening to us, and have a good night.